Hi, I'm Wendy Gardner. This double-sided fusible web is a dream to use for applique and all other sorts of things. I'll show you how. Fusible web is basically a double-sided web of glue, and you can use it to fuse two fabrics together. So you might fuse facings down in place, or hems, or add badges or patches, or in my case, I like to use it for applique. And when I do so, I use it in conjunction with an applique mat. Now, this mat is made from a sort of silicone, and it means that the web, the fusible glue web, doesn't stick to the mat, which is really handy when you're trying to apply appliques, and I'll show you how. I also like to use it with these pens. Now, these are erasable fabric pens. Now, again, they're great because the marks you make come off with heat. So you iron them and away they go. Lovely, great for appliques. Let me show you how. I've cut my beach hut to size and then a piece of the fusible web so it's just smaller all the way round. I'm going to cover the whole thing with this applique mat, which is non-stick and can be used again and again, and then just iron on so the webbing is facing up towards the mat. 10 to 15 seconds is all you need. I'm just using the dry iron here. And then I can peel it off my mat. Mat's fine to use again. And the glue is on the reverse here. Let's put that in place on my fabric. And then again, I can just press it in place. Now this is going to hold it. It will hold it permanently, but I do like to stitch around the outside as well. So I've got that one in place. And now here's my second piece, which I've already drawn. This is my roof. So I've already drawn it on there. I'm just going to cut it out. And because I actually placed it on top of the yellow fabric, which is still hot, the lines have already started to fade away. But when I press that in place on here, any remaining line, you can just about see a remaining line, will also disappear. So I can now use those pens to mark my doors and any other detail I want on here, which I can stitch over and then iron, and it'll all go away, and all I'll be left with is the stitch. So that's one example. Let me show you another one. So here, again, I have a patch with a flower. I've cut my webbing so it's slightly smaller. Iron the webbing onto my fabric, so the webbing again is right side up, so it's on the back of my fabric piece. Just peel that off. So the glue is now on the fabric, which I can now cut up. So I can sort of fussy cut around my design. And I can fuse that to a background fabric. And again, that's now ready for me to sew. So I just allow that to cool, and then I can sew with free motion stitching all around the outside. I can also use it to apply trims. So here I've got two already attached. I've cut a thin strip, laid it in place. Just make sure it's straight. And then this time I'm going to cover it with the applique cloth again, just to make sure that there isn't any of that fusible web poking out beyond the trim, which would then attach to the bottom of the iron and cause a sticky mess. So that trim's now in place and they're ready to stitch down either side to make a really nice finish. And of course, the other thing you can do is cut strips and use it as hemming web. So there's a strip in there, fold the hem up, and just fuse in place. So I'm using a hot steam iron there, beautifully hemmed. So I'll just show you some other examples. So here are ones I've done earlier. So again, I have fused my shapes in place and then I've just used free motion stitch around the edges. This I've got sort of echo stitching around, and this I've worked on the flower, and it's got wadding on the back to give it a bit of a 3D raised effect. This is a really lovely method of stitching on panels, and then of course you can join panels together, or you can attach a plique onto a ready done quilt. I hope you've enjoyed that video clip. There are plenty more Hemline videos on youtube.com/Hemline International. And also, most of the products we've shown have extra colours or extra sizes. So to see more, go to www.hemline.com.